YouTube one going, oh look,
And
there's
look.
that. Wow, that's wide angle.
How's that?
Man. That works.
All right.
He's a little bit hidden behind glass.
It works.
Like
right.
epic camera stand.
We only have one phone tripod, and so mine's all propped up on a box.
On the box with my
Yeah.
giveaway items
I'll get
and
it.
iron.
You're on top of the next. But
Oh, poor wireless connection. Not good.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Just a minute. I'm going to take you off the move.
wait, someone coming.
We'll play lifeboat.
Like, that's brutal, Kate.
Who gets the me on the internet?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this.
I think it's probably because he moved it, or it doesn't like me.
It doesn't like your eye.
Oh, we're back. Okay, I hope it stays, because it was all like, that connection.
Honestly, which camera do we look at?
Still
'Cause we
getting
have
configured
YouTube
here.
and
Whichever one we
Facebook.
like better, and then stare into it like you're on the
Do
office.
we like the Facebook people better and the YouTube people better?
So
Or we could
good.
do like cool, like, hi, today,
Over here. And over here. Hi, Angela. What?
Angela.
Hello. Yay. YouTube doesn't tell us who's watching. They just give a count, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one
That is
person. That might be
keeps
us.
reminding us that we're alive. It's like, I need to.
Is that us
I am live.
Perhaps.
Hooray. Has this
Life
gotten
is
weird
better
enough for
than dead.
everyone yet? We promised it would probably be weird.
Still setting up.
Oh, Dad's
Dad's
watching.
watching.
Dad! Heyo. We got a heyo from Angela.
Heyo.
Angela's cool.
Is
She's
that
awesome.
like the male version of heya? Because I always say heya. So if you do heyo, that makes it. Heya,
Sure.
heyo. Oh, sure.
Whatever.
He's
It's weird.
I'm trying to let people know I started a different stream.
Oh yeah,
Different
our
stream.
stream is on. Our YouTube stream is not where we promised it would be.
It means my link is all wrong.
So
All right.
what are we doing?
Tons of questions.
Who are you?
Who am I? That is a good question. No, not this one.
I said we could only sing Women's Rob once.
Oh, I just used that.
Oh, on
Evelyn.
Yay. Okay, so I'm Perry. I go online by my full name, Perry Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, because that's so nice and unwieldy. I am the oldest of the Willis kids, and
What? We're in birth order.
we did, look at that.
Sort of.
Um,
Although there's one right here.
Right, there is
Missing.
another sister right here, but
Yes.
she's less of a writer and
She
more of
does
like
furniture.
major artist, furniture restorations. She's very creative, but
Yep.
not in the writing department. So I'm old, married, have 4 little boys. There you go. That's
They're a
it.
lot of fun.
Am I supposed to like be like, and I wrote these books?
Yeah, sure,
Okay,
sure.
so I wrote these books. This one I wrote and published when I was 18. This one I wrote and published when I was, what, 19? Something
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
like next year.
And this one I wrote and published when I was 20. And I have no idea how old I was for these, but I was something in my early 20s, and they're mysteries about a cat. And I actually just released a 3rd one, and I don't have a copy of it yet, but there you go. There's 3 in that series.
That's pretty cool. So, I'm Kate, and I'm next. Amy does come
Right
between us, so
here.
there's like a 5-year age gap between
Between
us.
her and I.
But when she got the proof copy of her first book, I'm like, yeah, I need to do that. So, so this is the first one I wrote. It's kind of a mystery for little kids, and I actually wrote it for Anna. So, and then I published this one last year. It's
It's a
beginning of a
fun book.
series. I'm working on book 2, and then there's gonna be book 3. Yeah, I really like this size. And she actually does. She does all of my covers, except for one short story. I got a really great cover designer to do that for me.
Because I'm not a really great cover.
No, that's not what she meant.
I got a really great cover designer to do that for me because I wanted to try out her service and support her instead of just always sticking with my sister, even though I really
She's
love her.
amazing.
So, and then this is my debut novel that just came out like a week ago. So that's pretty exciting.
It's awesome.
And this is embarrassing.
What's incredible?
You got that from
Incredible.
the-
Remember, she's like, this is my dad, this is my mom, and this is
Oh,
embarrassing.
that's right. I forgot about that. Yep, that's a good one.
I'm Paul, and I'm the 4th born, and 4th borns are the best. I keep telling my nephew that.
He doesn't need any help thinking he's the
I know.
best. I guarantee you that.
Great. She's like, didn't realize
Oh
Willis.
yes, I know.
She-
We get that all the
She
time.
was a Willis.
I
Was
was.
a Willis. I did not hyphenate, but
Anyways,
once a Willis, always a Willis.
I've written a couple things. I always started stories and never finished them until they started publishing stuff, and I was like, I really need to do that. And I eventually, I think it was NaNoWriMo, and it took me about a year, but I published a dystopian novel.
It's fat.
It's like really,
We're
thick.
talking that
It makes me
kind of
happy.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
forget the people on
Hi,
Facebook.
way one upped us, honest with you. We're all like, oh yeah, we wrote this kid's book. It's like this big, and you know, kids' books are great.
And he wrote
But then he's
look
like,
at this novel. How
"Oh,
many words
there's-
is that thing?
It's 75.
It's like 70.
It's on the shorter end.
It took me
Longer
3
than
years to
anything
do a
I've ever written.
53,000.
years
So
too.
he's like,
It's fine. And I've topped out at like 47 or something like that's we're impressed. It's a very good book. It's awesome.
that's on it.
I'm Anna. It's spelled like Anna, but I'm Anna. And this is my book so far. Notebooks and inspiration and all that kind of thing. But I'm working on it. It's a big novel called Eagle Dare, all run together. And I just started a blog. So I'm getting into the kind of authory world, sort of. Get to piggyback on their fame.
Fame?
Fame.
Wait.
Like,
So they let me be in on it just so I could say
I
good
wear
things.
sunglasses anywhere yet.
That's
So
what.
cool. You're a whole family of writers. Yeah, it makes it pretty darn fun. Let me tell you.
We can't get anything done because we always like, we call you in the middle of the day. We're like, we had this idea.
Right? Yeah, or like my husband and I will come over on the weekend and we'll kind of hang out. And it takes us like a bazillion and a half years to leave because everyone's just like,
Yeah.
we're all talking so much.
We help each other like
Chill.
plot our stories and stuff. It's pretty fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had this idea. Is it any good? And
Well, if you do it like this.
they eventually make it good for me.
there's actually 3 more kids after her, and they're all writing too. And
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. They're always
Yeah.
asking for help too.
Yeah.
Yeah, during
For sure.
NaNoWriMo, was it last year or the year before? Our parents kind of got in
Sponsored
on
it
it.
in
They
a sense.
they sponsored it, and they gave some like free school days because we're all homeschooled. Give free school days to the younger kids who are still studying, and they bought us a lot of snacks.
Yeah.
The
They're
snacks
just-
were good.
You
A
guys have all
lot.
the
They're
snacks.
just really
Snacks.
awesome.
So it's just.
Hey, Amy!
Yeah.
Hi, Amy.
Amy's on the chat. Hi.
What is y'all's favorite dessert?
Oh, favorite dessert. Let's see.
Ice cream.
Oh yeah, we do have
That's
questions
from
that
Dad.
people asked.
Ice cream.
Oh yeah, Dad passed on
Absolutely
the
ice
ice cream
cream.
thing. Paul,
Yeah.
what's your favorite dessert?
What?
She said, Perry, how did your baby get so fat?
Ice cream, actually.
Yeah.
Your favorite dessert?
After he was born,
We have to
I
read
was
the-
craving ice cream,
Yeah.
and it made him really.
We have to read
really
the comments out loud because I don't know that YouTube is. saying
Right,
that,
YouTube
so.
can't see the Facebook comments.
So our sister said, "What's your favorite dessert?" on Facebook chat, and then she said, "How did your baby get so fat?" to Perry.
And both answers
And
are
both
ice
answers
cream.
are ice cream.
They kind of go together.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
my favorite dessert is probably ice cream.
Oh yeah,
Oreo ice cream though.
Oreo.
And I'm working on figuring out how to make that gluten free.
nice. And I'm seeing a pattern here. And A, it's because Dad likes ice cream a lot, and I think he kind of handed it down. Also, we're desert rats. What else would we want to
That's
eat?
hey.
I prefer to be a desert nomad.
Yeah.
Desert nomad. Okay, that sounds cooler. I'll give you that.
question.
Does Amy write too? You know what? Amy would tell you she doesn't write. Amy has written like a few like scenes of some ideas she had, and they were amazing. But no,
Yeah.
she doesn't like officially
No,
write.
we'll work on here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
still time.
there's
Yeah, there's.
she does a lot of other cool
She's
stuff.
incredibly creative. She does art. She's always drawn like really
Always
well.
drawing.
And then currently her big thing is she does furniture refinishing, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's all really nice.
Kind of goes together too. She can like make us an amazing desk, you know, we can
Right.
write on the desk.
I know she's this incredible desk right now that she's like, Perry, you should buy this from me. I'm like, I should. I love it.
Okay, so Matthew, hi, and Penny.
Hi, Cecilia. How did you first get into cover design, Perry?
Oh, you had to design your own cover.
Yeah, I did. When I did my first book, I was like, okay, I need a cover for this, and I was 18, and I had like a budget of like $2. It was really fun.
Pretty much.
So
And we
I
drove
actually-
to Wi-Fi.
I asked this
Yeah.
family that you see in here. It's really dark in the camera for some reason, but the family on the front is actually friends of ours, and I asked them if they would pose for me. I took a photo of them all standing together. I actually borrowed another kid from another family because I needed like twin boys in the family, and I took a photo from the back, and I like darkened it up into a silhouette, and and made my own cover, and I was like,
Isn't that the same boy?
Yeah, you multiplied
you
them.
oh, I
duplicated
did.
him.
That's right. I
Duplicated.
duplicated. I forgot about that. So it was literally
Same kid.
twins are literally the same kid duplicated.
Yeah, he just
So
she
anyway,
just pulled him different.
That was my thing, and it was not awesome. This is actually the revised version of that
Yeah, you
cover,
changed it.
but it worked. And then I did the same thing. I took photos of someone for my original cover for Light of the World,
Yeah,
and
they
I was
have
like,
that somewhere.
not so great. So I redid that one as well. But that was basically why I got into it. I needed my own covers, and then after that, I was like, but I can't write books fast enough for all the covers I want to design. So I started doing other people's
Now
covers.
you can't design covers fast enough for the people who want them.
Yeah, that's basically the issue.
Tyler is sending you hearts.
Oh, hi, Tyler.
That's so gross.
Aw, I was hoping he gets his one.
That's fun.
Have
Alright.
we missed any questions or?
Well, we have
Yeah,
a whole
a
bunch here
ton.
that people pre-asked.
Okay, why don't you read them, Noel?
Well, there's a lot.
There's a
but,
bunch.
well,
Like
you
had to
Rosalind,
choose one
Rosalind gave us
person.
like 11.
yeah, Rosalind
That
has them
was
all like
amazing.
enumerated.
Oh
so,
wow,
like,
there's 11.
You're
Oh,
so
we better
organized.
get busy.
You're so organized.
okay, let's take
Let's start with
Rebecca's.
Rebecca. Rebecca Morris.
Rebecca Morris.
She asked, "What is the best thing about having siblings who write?" Obviously,
We had to bounce ideas off each other. all the
yeah,
time.
brainstorming, the
Auto-
creativity,
Automatic brains.
the support, and the critique.
Yeah.
You know, Anna's really good for that. She'll read your art, your first draft.
I'll tell you it's terrible. But do this and it won't be.
Well, actually, she'll tell you it's terrible first, and then after she
You
tells
just
you
wait
all
on
that,
it.
you wait a few hours, and it'll be like at midnight. She'll be like, "I love that scene." You're like,
Okay.
so it's okay." But no, it's actually really good that because I often hear from people that like their family members always are like, "Oh, I love your story," and then they have someone else read it and someone else hates it.
Yeah.
But
I'm very honest. How about
my
that?
family is a great mix of
Maybe
like
take on.
critical and not critical, and so altogether it just helps a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it that of course, all of my kids are really young, and I spend most of my days with them. And then I'll talk to my husband about what I'm writing.
He's so cute. He like loves your stories.
I know he starts geeking out over whatever I'm writing, which is really really nice. And he actually is really good at brainstorming with me. But sometimes there's like these nitty gritty, like plot questions that I'll come up with, and I'll be like, I'm just not sure if I'm handling this the right or wrong way. So then I'll talk to these guys because they're really deep into the stuff, the plotting and the writing stuff. And so while my husband's really good at the initial brainstorming, sometimes I lose him when I start talking about like, but the inciting incident, and he's like,
What?
so then I'll talk to these guys, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's really nice.
We have all different types too. Like Amy can help with the cool factor a lot. Like I told her the entire plot of my novel, and she's like, "Yeah, I think people would like that." I told her the entire plot for like a young adult novella I'm gonna write next, and she really liked it.
Dystopian.
And then Anna helps me like figure out if that's good with characters and would they act that way. And that sentence just sounded hilarious when like the writer.
Drew and Drew. Okay, in the Twin Arrows, Drew and Drew. The boy's name is Druin, and he drew. And I was just dying. She's like, I'll fix it. I'm like, it's hilarious.
I always tell Kate to add politics.
Yes, his politics, like his book is all politics. Not really, but it's much
He's
more
good at
political than
action
mine.
too.
And then he helps a lot with like plot and structure. And then Perry,
He's of course the cover designer.
but then she also
Cecilia is like,
she just helps with the whole story. And then Dad's like the theology guy.
Yeah.
he'll
This is
read
a
your
pastor.
book and cry and go the themes and totally.
Get
Like he
it?
read her book, he totally got it, and he like was telling her how this made him think of this, and like I think it even crept into one of his sermons and stuff, and as like an example, and she's like, yes, that's perfect,
So
exactly.
That's great.
Hi, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Oh, Austin.
If you had the chance to make one of your stories into a movie, which would it
Oh,
be?
okay. So we have
Okay.
a follow up real quick to the what's the best
So
thing about
Rebecca
siblings?
and Amy
Oh.
both asked, "What is the
But
worst
we'll
thing
get to your question because that's totally
about
Yeah.
having siblings that who write?"
Oh,
So
what's the worst thing
What's
about
the worst
it?
thing?
You can't get anything done because you just always have stories in your heads that you're all talking
Why
about.
didn't you guys all do dishes together, or why don't you all make dinner
That is
together?
a
And we're
problem.
like,
We
hey,
can't go
Mom.
to bed at night.
We're brushing our teeth and we're brushing our teeth for hours
she's like,
talking.
"What have you been doing?" We're like, "Well, we have a whole movie planned out." And we tell her the end. We're like, "It's really stirring, and it's amazing. And if we could just get a contract, it would be amazing." And yeah,
So, like, you're saying, like, creativity overload inhibits the rest of life.
Yeah, it
That's
kind
kind of what you're
of
saying.
Yes,
slows
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Especially then. I don't know. Is there anything bad
I don't.
about?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
mostly just
That's-
really fun.
That bad thing's still almost a good thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
only
know.
how you look at it.
Sometimes it gets dark over here, a little bit dark because we all kind of have like.
We're like, oh, that character, if he was out of the story, he'd be so much better. But I like that character.
Yeah.
Hi, Aaliyah. These are all my crazy siblings. You haven't met them.
There's 4 more.
Hi, Aaron.
There's other crazy ones, but
There's
like,
more
these are-
crazy
Yeah,
ones.
actually, there
These
are
are the
more. These
writer
aren't all
crazy
of them.
ones.
These are
Right.
just the ones that are
Okay.
serious.
So we said, do you snack a lot together too, right?
Isn't that what writing's for?
So we have one sister. She's very sweet, but she's figured out that she can make a business of buying snacks like cheaply and reselling them to us, and we actually don't mind. It's actually it's really nice to
Good
have
to
one.
say.
And,
in-house snack
Yeah, they're
store.
it's in house.
It's good to support like local industry.
and she does
Right.
give them to us for free too.
Sometimes,
which is
yeah.
very sweet. But yeah. So we
Okay,
do
let's-
snack a lot.
So thanks
together.
for asking questions.
We'll go in.
Oh, yeah,
we've
we're
been
gonna
writing
get-
in, and it's like covered in
Write
wrappers.
that one down.
We're getting
Favorite
behind on
genre.
these
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, you should. Pull
Wait,
that
Matthew's
open.
on YouTube and on Facebook. Hi, Matthew, twice.
Wow.
Does it look
Quantum-
any different?
Quantum math.
Yeah, it's a lot like just
We're looking this way and one
on
this
Sunday
way.
being quantum.
That's the ones.
Okay,
That is
so
complicated.
should we do Austin's question?
Okay, let's take one right here real quick while she's pulling
right to
that up. No, she's pulling up the list there.
Yeah, let me get. Hold on. I'm not actually sure how to.
Hmm.
And I'm supposed to be the techie one. Oh, here we
Let's
go.
see.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, lots of questions. Let's see.
Oh, I like Penny's first one.
Or the Penny's second one. That one looks fun.
Oh, let's do the second one.
This is the second one.
Okay.
So Penny Wood asked, if you could travel to any time period, what would it be and why?
Ooh.
Can we start?
Now let's start over here because
Me?
we've been going this way the whole time.
Yeah, let's start
Oh.
on.
Oh, what time period? Probably World War II, actually, because as terrible and sad and everything as it was, I'm a little bit obsessed. What?
Stop it. Only if she was in
Sorry.
Europe.
Wait, what?
No. Go ahead.
What did you say? What did you
That was
say?
too dark.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't hear it. Yeah, I would probably travel to like the 1940s because I just dropped your novel.
Those throwing things.
I don't know why
Visual.
actually. I don't know. I just love the culture of that time and just like all in it together and gonna pull through and win. And it's kind of just very much of like patriotic people.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess.
Medieval.
I guess no. That's all kind of like the plague and everything. I don't know.
It wasn't the whole
Medieval
time.
I don't know.
plague.
You just might run into
What?
trouble in there, and so I guess I kind of like
It's kind of
small
true of most eras.
small town America in the 50s,
Oh, yeah.
Like the stepside truck.
50s diner. Like,
Right?
Yes.
And the typewriters that were like mint green.
Oh.
So awesome.
So I would probably get a blue box and go everywhere.
That doesn't even count.
That's a Trump.
Yeah,
That
Yeah,
doesn't-
that is
doesn't
like Trump's
count.
everybody's
It doesn't
answer.
count.
Yeah, but not really. They're like all have really good ideas, and then I would also like to go to the Middle Ages and like meet Robin Hood because I'm convinced he's real.
Which one?
Yes, which Robin Hood? He has
The
a weird theory about Robin Hood.
Did I mention that we're all kind of history nerds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Mallory.
Yeah, Dad made up his like own history curriculum. He just like gathered a bunch of cool books,
You have shelves
including like
full.
historical fiction and stuff. So like we'd be like, yes, we get to read this book now because
And we had
Funny
to, but we had to
thing
wait
is-
for
We
it
had to
to,
wait.
to come at like we studied history chronologically, so we couldn't read such and such historical fiction that they had gotten until we got there in the lessons.
so he made it very exciting.
None of us have really written historical fiction yet.
No, which is
No.
weird considering how
Mine
History.
almost counts.
No.
yours is like alternate history.
Mine's like
Okay.
alternate history, but not
Yeah.
alternate.
I think we like we like all the time periods too much, so we can't write one. We kind of have to write all of them. So what time period did you go to?
I'm probably with you guys on like 40s, 50s. I mean, there was
Simple box.
it had its issues. Well,
So it doesn't
I don't think it
count.
counts. I mean, it had its issues, but there was a lot of cool stuff, advancements, and the morality level was pretty good, and
A little family life.
I gotta say the women's clothes were just adorable in that time period. So I'm always like, you know, if I could dress historically, that's what I would do. So. And Tyler, we did answer the question about how I got into cover designing, so you missed it.
Did
But
we ever
wait,
read
wait.
G.A. Henty for history?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Cat
We
Bassies.
haven't read all of them.
Not all
No,
of them.
we
Yeah,
read
we've read a
several,
few.
Few.
I have two favorites. I like the one about Agincourt. That one was really interesting to me, and then I like Bonnie Prince Charlie.
Oh, that one's so
That was-
sad.
The
That was
thing
good.
those two kind of have in common. Well, actually, Bonnie Prince Charlie, I kind of like it because it's set during like the time of kidnapped and
Yes.
just in Scotland. And then at Agincourt, it had a few issues, but it had disguises, so I had
Disguises.
to.
Yeah,
Hey.
who could turn up their nose at disguises? Awesome.
All of
So,
us.
Do we have another question?
do you want to answer the ones on there?
Oh yeah, we can
Maybe
switch to these.
Austin's movie.
Yeah,
one.
let's get
Okay,
some of
let's
those.
Austin's
see.
movie one.
So, if you had the chance to make one of your stories into a movie, which would it?
I pretty much just have one right now. So.
No, but you have ideas.
Okay.
And
Well, should it be-
there's
should it be-
Diamond too, and that could be a TV
Yeah.
show.
Should it be between all of our books or just like
Or
each
each.
person's books?
We could do.
We could do both. Like we could
That's
do
tough. Yeah,
each
above
of- and then
anyone's.
like if we could all like agree on. So
Okay.
what about
I started last time, so I'm in the middle. Needs to start.
Paul?
So for mine, actually, I'm thinking I'm working on a novella right now, kind of slowly, kind of World War II.
Historical.
I think that would make.
Oh yeah, that one's so good.
I think that would
Is that
make-
happening yet? Can you tell me the name?
Temporarily, it's called "I Told You Always." But
I told you always. Yeah, it's really good. I brainstormed that one a little bit with you, and I'm like really wanting to read it now.
I
That
think it
would
would
make
make
a
kind of
good
a nice, like Crossroads is like it's like really like action based and really fast paced and
It would be
everything.
a cool movie.
But I'm not sure completely if all the themes and everything would come across right.
If you could do it justice, kind of thing.
And it'd be a lot bigger budget, so you know, I think
More explosions.
more pyrotechnics, so by far.
Okay.
So I like all my stories, of course. And I do have an idea for like kind of an epic fantasy. I've talked about it some places. It has like a really interesting world, so that would be cool. But it would also be harder to make into movies. So I actually have a novella I'm gonna work on soon. It's called Imperfect. It's this is technically dystopian, but that's like even more
It's
dystopian.
like pure dystopian.
Yeah,
That
and
would be
it's
really
got
cool.
some really things that are dear to my heart, like some pro-life, not just unborn children, but also people with disabilities and stuff. So, and I feel like I have a pretty solid main character that people can relate to. So I think that one, personally, I think I'd make that one into a movie.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Gabrielle, and you're gonna like my fantasy one if I ever write it. You are.
Tell her the name. Tell her the name.
It's called Awake.
Awake.
Yeah. So, movie.
Girl. Do I make into a movie?
Those would be so fun. as a
I
movie.
know the Kitten Files.
Like
would
it's like
be,
a TV show almost.
Yeah, because I mean they're like short mysteries, so they would almost totally work as like a serial TV show thing. So that I guess the Kitten Files would be really.
And what's his name? What's the main character name?
Mia?
No,
Oh,
well,
Keith.
the other main character.
Right.
Keith
The
would be
human-
hilarious. He's such a quirky character.
Yeah, he's a little bit dense, but he's a detective, so.
Those go together though.
Not really. You need to be sharp to be a
Which
detective.
one would you make into a movie?
I kind of only have like 3 works in progress right now.
You're so lucky.
Only
Only right now.
You're so lucky.
My novel that I'm working on, Eagle Dare, same thing with Crossroads. I'm not sure if a movie would like really be able to
The visuals would
do
be
it
really
all, but the
cool.
visuals would be so cool because it's
Yeah.
like actiony, and okay, spoiler, but there's like people using rooftops to get around. That sounds dumb, but like
It's epic.
How do you
it's
explain
epic.
it?
It's
Really
epic. It would feel
yeah.
really epic.
yeah.
So I think I would choose that one.
the whole movie should be in sepia.
Sepia.
Come on, you're like in the
Caroline
smog.
says her sister adores the Kitten Files. Oh, that's so fun! I don't know if you caught it, but I have a third one out. So
It
that's
just
what
came
it
out.
is.
like-
Yeah, like yesterday.
What's it called? What's it called?
The Case of the Serial Robber.
Cereal.
Cereal is spelled like the food, though.
Serial robber.
It's
That's so
great.
corny.
Exactly.
Earl wants
That's
to
like
know how
corn-based
long
cereal.
we've been writing. Combined or
Yeah.
Well, to date, I haven't written any at all.
So what were your stories?
that's not what he meant.
Wait, what?
Hey, what were your like stories way back when with like the green thing?
When you
Oh,
sit,
yeah,
you'd
that
sit in the
was-
middle of the hall, right?
I've
In our
been-
bedrooms, you'd sit in the middle of the hall and tell us stories
Yeah.
at night.
Well, I would read.
You
stuff
had the
to
one
you,
with
but
like
yeah.
like the person like falling through the floor into another wall or something. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had some weird stories at the
Yeah,
beginning there. So
but-
I've basically been writing since I was 7, but as far as like of books that I've published, I started writing Heavens Declare when I was 14. And I didn't finish it and publish it until I was 18, so I kind of took a big break in the middle there.
So that means there's hope for me because I'm 16 and I still haven't published, but I have been writing short stories.
You
so
have time.
I have time.
Me too.
Well, I published my first one when I was 17, so you do have time. We have a
Oh,
pattern.
who started?
Um,
What?
so
Matthew's just
Is he
That's
cutting
it.
up?
he's because okay. So Penny's like, no, I want to
No,
read
he's just
Eagle Dare
kidding,
right
that's
now, and he's like, you'll have to wait a few years. Like, yes, you will, but hopefully not too many.
Thanks to the vote of confidence.
Yeah,
So-
thanks a lot.
okay, I've been writing since I was 7, but it's been like seriously for the last 5 years.
I thought I was writing for a very long time. And so you look through my notebooks and you have the beginning of a story, like near the beginning, and then you have like the beginning of another story near the end, maybe one in the middle, and everything between is drawing, math, because I always mix up my math and storybooks, notebooks, and yeah, I didn't really do anything for a long time, but
Olivia.
probably 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think that's when I started thinking about Crossroads and the original ideas for it. It's changed a lot, and I wrote a detective short story, and that
Which
sort of
is
thing, so-
really fun.
It's been like 2 or
Diamond.
3. Like, serious.
yeah, two or three, like, where seriously,
Serious.
I'm gonna finish
Oh,
something. And,
I guess I didn't answer that question. I've been writing and publishing for about 8 years, seriously. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And then I would say kind of like 2 or 3 years is the same for Anna.
Yeah, I wrote a short story that like won a contest, and then I went, oh, I can actually write. I can actually do this. So then I've just been writing since. That was like maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We have a community here too that we have a lot of friends who value writing, and it's fun to write with them. We actually have last year we did a booth at our homeschool convention with all of our books on it, and we're doing it again this year. So kind of this community has helped us like writing even more. So that's why the last 3 years has been really serious. So
Cecilia's like, gosh, you published young.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of our thing. Okay, hold on. We got like all these questions we're gonna miss out on in here.
Yeah.
I've got like still like 50 over here.
Yeah, I
so-
think so. We should cross up
Amy
Over here.
says
man.
on YouTube, she says, "What is a series all of you love?"
I'm
the
Malika.
other Amy.
Yeah, a different Amy than our sister, but a very big one.
Amy from Nook Novels.
Oh.
nice.
Oh, RJ, are you saying Paul is hard to hear?
Does my voice carry?
We need your radio announcer voice, Paul.
Yeah. So
Interesting. So I said hi, Malachi, over here, and he just said hi back. So he heard me.
Okay.
so
Maybe
Let
we
it,
just-
let us know if there's still problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't hear Paul or Honor.
let's do because we have one on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
let's do
because
that
your
one.
mic might be picking up from over
over
here.
here more than over
Right. This is more
Makes
central. So
Interesting. Huh. Well, just make sure you speak up and hopefully that'll
Mhm.
fix it.
Can we do Amy's one on here? Just the one.
it says,
Just,
"What is the
Yeah.
series all of you love?"
oh. Like we have to agree on one?
Ready,
Yeah,
set,
we have to agree on
Chronicles of Narnia.
Chronicles of
Chronicles of
Narnia.
Narnia, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that was just easy because Dad
Easy.
read it to each of us as we were young.
Real little.
Such good
So-
memory.
We'd kind of like age into it, and he'd move on to the next person, and we'd read it together at night.
And what's really special about that is I don't know. As we got older, we started connecting with the spiritual themes a bit more.
Mhm.
And like I said, Dad can always find the cool theology in a book. He's a pastor, but he also just kind of thinks that way.
He's an artist.
And yeah, he's an artistic theologian.
Mhm.
So that became a really special thing. Like we could connect with him on the themes. So we all really liked the book.
Gabrielle can hear me, so
So she can hear you.
that's good.
That's funny.
Nice.
I'm gonna do a few out there.
Let's see. Did we answer favorite genres to write in?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I like spec fic of all shades and types.
To write it and read it.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So I was obsessed with medieval stories, but like more like Kingdom Adventure. I don't know if you've heard that term, but it's like a fictional medieval world with no magic. So it's kind of
So
like,
it's like medieval, but not necessarily.
but I didn't have to
historical,
research
be
anything. So,
historically correct.
so I've written a bunch in that, and I still really like writing in that. I've seen a lack of really good contemporary books, or maybe I read them all too quickly. So I do like writing contemporary. I'm on a little bit of a dystopian jag right now, but
I like dystopian. I like writing dystopian, but I guess I kind of have my eye on writing fantasy or kingdom fiction, and maybe some sci-fi, like some like out in space sci-fi. That's kind of
that
where I
would
want
be
to do
fun.
next. Besides my World War II novella right now
Oh,
is like the one
totally forgot about
is like the one thing I'm doing that's different right now. But the rest of it is kind of like futuristic, or because I don't really like doing the historical research as much. So I like things I can completely make up.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I'm just making it up.
Yeah, what'd you say, Anna?
I like doing contemporary actually. I like taking like real world things and like thinking about them in a different way and putting cool themes in it and stuff. Currently, I really like doing what I'd say is historical fiction with an element of what's the word?
Fantasy.
Fantasy,
Speculative.
Alternate.
That's what I'm working on right now, like alternate history sort of, but where it's
Which is
completely
really cool.
historical with
For
a
sure.
tiny bit of alternate.
Matthew wants to know how we get past writer's block.
Bang your head.
Who says we do? No. I don't know. You guys have any snacks? Big huge snacks.
Food, that does it.
So I'm a big fan of actually having several projects going at once, so that if you're stuck in one, you can alternate to another without leaving that one completely. You can still be working on something. So I like doing that. I like having different projects to work on. I also like free writing. I kind of learned to like that actually in a college English class, and that's really helpful. You just kind of write down all your ideas and find out which ones will fit in. So I think that really helps too.
Let's see.
That is so cool.
RJ, my dad wrote and published a World War II time travel sci-fi a few years ago, Paul.
Oh,
That's
that is
really cool.
epic.
That
Your
sounds
dad
fun.
is
so
cool.
That sounds
That's
fun.
Your
neat.
dad is
What's
really
it
cool.
called? We need to look it up. That sounds really fun.
That's really fun.
I think for writer's block, that's kind of been my downfall for years and years. I would get stuck and then I would just pitch the project because then all the doubt would creep in and I'm like, ah.
Yeah. Have a good critique partner that'll tell you.
That'll help. Having a good brainstorm is oftentimes really helpful.
People to tell you not to throw it away and to like just rethink it.
Right, and to kind of like throw ideas at you until something sticks and you're like, I have inspiration again. But actually, I think the biggest thing most recently for me is I learned I've always been a pantser. I've never like planned my stories out in any detail, but I recently started using a method called headlight plotting. Because if I plot out a whole story from the beginning, it actually kills the creative process for me just because I'm such a pantser. But this one, I literally will just super vaguely summarize, like the first 5 chapters, right? And then I write those 5 chapters, and then I pause, I think about what I've written, and I plot out the next 5 chapters. And so that gives me just enough guidance that I know where I'm headed with each chapter, without totally killing the creativity for me. So I found that that has made it really, really easy for me to just kind of stay on course and stay productive without any big like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I do something similar. It's a little more structured than that, but I do like kind of putting the ideas of plotting and pantsing together. So, yeah. What do you do about writer's block?
I don't believe in it.
I don't believe in you. Over the hedge reference.
No. Usually, if I'm bored or something like that with the story, that's kind of when I run into trouble. So usually, what helps for me is just setting a certain time, and we're just gonna sit down and write. I don't care how much I get done right now, but I'm just gonna write. And it's usually I have writer's block on a little section of the story So if I can get through that and go, I don't even care how bad that was. It just needs to get me to the next place in the story. If I can get through that, then I can get going again, and I can just in editing I can fix that.
That's a big thing. Giving yourself permission to write something that's really terrible and you'll probably change later,
Yeah.
but just keep plowing ahead.
And the Twin Arrows I replaced an entire chapter. It was really bad. I was like, I pulled the where somebody needs to escape. I made the guards like really unintelligent.
Really dumb.
And I read it, and then like they were so unintelligent that that's impossible.
It's like the thing, you know, where you throw a rock and it distracts them and then you can get past them kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
Do you have writer's block advice?
so. I totally changed that.
Read something really fun that, not too fun so that you're like, I can't ever write this well, but like fun that like kind of gets you back into the creative mode and you're like, I want to do this too.
Yeah.
And Mallory had asked, what is your top advice to someone who has started writing a ton of stories but has never finished any? I think that kind of
It's pretty much the
relates.
same
Yeah.
answer.
It's kind of make a little bit of a plan, do things that keep you like in love with your
Engaged, yeah.
story.
And it's okay to have a couple, as Sue was saying. If you're not finishing one because you're getting stuck on it a little bit.
Oh, hi, Mr. Mayhar. That's so cool.
If you have a couple, as long as you keep alternating between them, you know that can keep you going on all.
And
Eventually, you have to pick one. You're gonna
I usually work on 2 at a time, and then I take one and get it ready to publish, and then when it's done, I switch back to the other one and get that ready to publish, and then I kind of start on different ones. I would say it is okay to set yourself a deadline. Don't set it too close. I've done that before, and it's
Set yourself up for
really
failure.
stressful.
I just did that.
But like I said about our community here, really encouraging writing is that convention booth we have. We all know we need to get our books done around June if we want them at the table, and so that can help us really get to work and everything.
Yeah, goal setting is so important.
So Malachi who is part of that group,
Malachi Sear.
just commented. He goes, "Do Nano." So yeah,
Yeah,
NaNoWriMo
NaNoWriMo.
is a really good way to set a goal and plow through. And I would say share your story with someone. At least one of them, because if they're all excited about it and asking what's gonna happen next, that can often get you to finish it so that they like it.
Yeah, don't underestimate the power of a good cheerleader.
Yes.
So do you have any more in particular that you want to do? Because I still have like Libby has 10, Rosalind has.
Oh, there's really good questions here. Why don't we go through some of those and we can
We'll do
return to these.
Penny just asked over here. She said, "How old are all of you? And are we allowed to say that? Like online?"
I'm 80.
Don't give your birthday. Just your age.
I'm 80 years old. I
No
just
social
look young.
security number either.
Yeah, no birthday, no social
But our
security.
address, I'm allowed to say that's 221B Baker Street.
So
What?
that's where you can.
Yes, Mallory. So encourage them to finish because we want to read them too, and
Yeah,
you want to read them. And even if they think they're crummy stories, they're really good practice, and
Yeah.
we want to read
And,
them.
yeah, and everybody goes through a phase where they're convinced that the story is just absolute trash. But later you'll learn to like it again. So you gotta just wait for that to cycle through.
Someone actually wrote something about like the different stages an author goes through. Like
That's always one of them.
that's always one of them. This is the worst thing ever. And
Yep. Every
once
time.
again, having a good critique partner because they'll be on that in a different way than you are. They'll be at no, it's a really good story when
Different
you are at
stage.
it's a really bad story.
And it totally. I mean, I've written.
Austin knows our ages. That's creepy.
Austin.
I've written 8 books
You're
and a
great.
bunch of short stories, and it still happens to me every single time.
Yep.
So it's a thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
ages. I'm.
You're 13, obviously.
No,
People
I'm
think you're
13.
13.
I
We're
know.
twins actually.
Yeah,
No,
we're twins,
we're
yeah.
not. I'm
No.
20, I'm 26
I'm 21.
I'm 19.
I'm 16.
for a little while, yeah.
For a little while. I'll be 17 really soon.
But we're not gonna say when.
But we're not when. Hey, JD. You're funny.
He wants us to give our SNSN.
First, first grade
Oh,
teacher.
social security
My
number.
brother's maiden name
Sorry
first
to
pet,
disappoint.
and first grade teacher.
Those are just security
First
questions.
grade
That
cheat-
doesn't help you.
First
sorry.
grade teacher is our
Actually,
mom.
it would.
Well,
What?
that.
Not without the rest.
Oh, now he wants about our bank account numbers. I don't have mine memorized, so
Yeah,
I
I
actually-
don't either. Long
so-
strings of numbers are
I
not
can
my
send
friend.
you
Doesn't
my
matter.
PayPal info so you can send me money
Yeah, there you go.
if you want.
Yeah.
okay.
Off top.
Our first pet is a yellow cockatoo named Sunshine.
No.
Nope, not a cockatoo.
What is she? What is she?
Cockatiel.
Cockatiel.
But there was actually a mean cat before that.
Oh, you're right.
It was my cat.
I don't remember
Everyone-
mean.
She was really
I think
mean.
I helped make her mean because I think I carried her badly when I was like 3.
Well, but you were tiny. You were like a year
Very
and a half,
true.
2 years old. You didn't
Okay.
know about kitties.
Okay.
No.
Okay, next
Let's
question.
answer some of Libby's questions.
Oh yeah.
I don't think
Libby,
she's
great
here,
ones.
but she's coming later, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
you
wants
can
to
always
watch
watch the
it.
replay. So.
Let's do the Oreo one. That's really
Oreos.
Uh,
Well, we should maybe do like more writing.
Okay, so what are your favorite foods and why? And double stuffed thins or original Oreo cookies? Let's just answer the
Why?
Oreo
Just like
cookie question.
yeah.
because-
Just yes, Oreos.
Thins are an abomination. I'm just
No.
saying.
Actually, there's a good reason to eat thins. They are
They're
easier to eat,
They're thinner.
and you can eat more of them without feeling bad.
Yeah, but then you get more cookies. I'm sorry, I'm a double stuffed
Okay.
person. I just right, Tyler. Am I right, Tyler? Yeah.
Fair, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm a double stuffed person.
Hey,
That's what
be
you just
nice.
said.
I personally
Hey,
like
when I'm pregnant,
mint.
I am
Yeah,
a double
that's
stuffed
true.
person.
Right.
I like the
Just
mint
put it
ones and I don't know if
those are-
they have
those
double
are
stuffed mint
good.
ones,
I don't
but
know.
I kind of like them
I like
all,
the alternate flavor.
especially in ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
That
Oreo
is-
ice cream. It doesn't matter what. I mean, at that point, you don't know if they're double stuffed. They're just kind of broken up in the ice cream.
Yeah. Who cares at that point?
They're no longer
They're
stuffed.
like ice cream logged, like waterlogged.
Oh, here's a very important question. Ivy asked on Goodreads, she said, will it be recorded and on YouTube after the fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Good question, Ivy.
All right.
Yeah, Olivia, we don't.
We don't
currently
have Oreos.
Oh, see, Kate, Austin agrees with me. Oreo thins are a joke.
Oh, sad. Yeah, well, Olivia or
We'll talk about
Penny.
this later.
Yeah, you two can hash that out later.
Feelings on generic sandwich cookies. All of the feels. No, I don't know. What does that mean?
Oh, you mean
Oh,
like the
we used to eat those all the time.
Okay, we call them Klatskanite cookies.
Right.
Klatskanite mountain cookies because
'Cause
we'd
that-
eat them.
If we got too
As we were on
hungry
the
in the
mountain.
car, we would all get like icky motion sick.
Well, grocery shopping
We
trips
live-
would take hours.
We lived half an hour from town, and grocery shopping trips took 12 hours. So
They
we
eat a
had to
lot
eat
of them.
something on the way home.
It's a big one.
And the road home was like, well, Mr. Mayhar knows.
Yeah.
So it was really, really, really bad, and so we had to like eat these nasty little sandwich cookies
Yeah.
all the way home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay, how about a work in progress question right here?
Yeah, Mary.
Mary asked, what books are each of you working on right now?
Well, obviously,
Eagle Dare.
Yeah.
And one that's shorter that's called Confidential, which is funny to tell people that I'm working on. What are you
It's
working
called-
on? What are you working on?
Confidential.
I
Confidential.
love it. That is hysterical.
So I'm working on a bunch of things, sort of, even though I'm not actually working on them right now.
College.
My book is called College.
Is that? So I'm like 8,000 words into my novella I've been talking about. I've been plotting the second book in my dystopian series, and I'm planning on starting that in about a month from now. Working on that, and I have a second book or a second story following Diamond, and I have a second Grey Road story,
Yeah.
and that's planned and somewhat written. I'm kind of reworking the idea right now.
So I'm taking a break because like I said, I published a book last week. I'm enjoying reading other people's books and not having to edit them. But I will be working on rewriting the sequel to the Twin Arrows next month during Camp NaNoWriMo, which is like an online writers retreat. It's pretty fun. And then I do want to start writing Imperfect soon because I've been in a big stage of just like editing a lot of stories to get them ready for publication. I'd like to start a new one.
So that writing process is fun. Like I said, I just published my third Kitten Files mystery, and so I'm also kind of on break right now. I'm getting ready for the homeschool convention. like they
She's
are.
gonna have an amazing booth with Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca Jones and
Rebecca
I are
Jones.
doing. We have a little company called Inkin' and Cheese, and so it'll be super
It's
fun.
gonna be cool.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm basically between books right now. Of course, I'm constantly having ideas I'm jotting down. I think my next projects are possibly going to be a couple short stories. So
Speaking about your table, I think that kind of segues into RJ's question here. Which business is the most lucrative? Journals, covers, or books that you write?
Okay. Yeah, so the definitely not the books that I write. I don't write books that are like people are actually looking for typically. I will say my kitten files mysteries have done the best because mysteries are kind of a big genre.
And it's a cat.
Well, right.
It's
Who
a
wouldn't wanna read
snarky
about a
cat, right?
It's really
Snarky
cute.
like cat.
The kid's
Right,
really cute
it's-
and like smart.
it's kind of fun. So anyway, yeah. So those have done the best, but still definitely not my biggest source of lucrativeness. For about a year, my husband and I did my book designing business full time. We worked on it together. That was a very, very busy year. My business model was built around, charging less than most people would. A lot of times, cover designers are like $600 for a cover, and I could do them fairly quickly. But it's still when I broke it down by what I was probably making per hour, I wasn't actually making all that much, and I was crazy busy. So, I think actually, as far as like what I'm able to make per hour, even if it's less busy, I think my Right Mind Planner side of the business is actually the most lucrative because people seem to really like it, which is really cool. I wasn't sure how it would be received, and yeah, it's I've gotten it down to being pretty efficient, so that's kind of my best thing right now.
Cool. Rosalind said, "You guys do argue, don't you?
No,
Don't you?" And I don't
never.
think we do.
No, we don't argue. Wait, someone say yes, we do.
Yeah, you say that.
All right. Yeah.
I'm the.
Kate, Kate's
Oh,
not
wait.
getting
out of
Kate,
it.
yeah, don't look
She's
at her.
the angel child.
No,
Nobody
I think
sees it,
I'm
sorry.
sure. I mean, we definitely argued when we were littler, and probably when it comes down to like chores, you guys probably have like moments now.
Yes.
Oh, we don't do chores anymore. We're retired. We just
You
write.
just-
We just
what-
write.
That's
That's all we
all
do.
we do with our time.
No,
Mom
it's
is
not.
so amazing. She just feeds us snacks and makes us write. No.
Let's do them.
No, you guys cook
page.
and-
Let's do those.
Okay, we're real people and we irritate each other sometimes.
Yes. I fight over her stories. I'm like, no, this is how you should do it.
We get along, but especially at night when we're not supposed to be talking and we're supposed to be getting ready for bed and going to bed, shutting down the house. That's when we get along and we're not supposed to be. So, just kidding. We get
No
along.
dare.
Hi, Alex.
Alex. Oh, Mrs. Mayher asked a question too.
Is he?
Mrs. Mayer or Mr. Mayer?
Mrs. Mayher.
She
said
said
She
this
said
is
this
her.
is
Oh,
my
it was
bar
her.
account.
That's funny. Oh, Austin wants to know if we have secret projects that we have a hard time keeping secret.
Yes.
Yes, I've started a couple things that were supposed to. Well, obviously I was writing something, but I was gonna like not share the plot ahead of time. Like my next Crossroads book is gonna be completely secret until the first draft was done, and then I was gonna share it with Anna and Kate.
I know all about it.
I told her the entire plot, and it didn't work. So
That's hilarious.
We stayed up way too late with that one.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh.
State your name, rank, and serial number.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. RJ loves personality types.
I don't know.
What is your? Do you know what yours
No,
is?
I don't.
I
don't
took mine
remember.
a
I
long
took
time
mine.
ago with like the Myers-Briggs, the
And
16
they kept
personalities,
changing.
and I kept changing a little bit because I'm in the middle on a lot of
Did
things.
you learn
So
all of them or
I
some
went
people took
between
it?
ENTP and ENFP. So that would be the thinking, feeling. I'm kind of right there in the middle. So depending on when I take it, if I'm in a mood, I can be either.
Normally, I'm like 50-50 right down the list, but when I'm ill, when I have health problems, I'm INFJ to the max.
Yeah. I guess I'd say that for me too. I can be like really extroverted, and if I don't feel good, I'm like, don't talk to me.
And I'm an INFJ, like pretty solid.
Yeah, she's solidly that since she was a baby.
Except for online.
Do you want to do this one?
Okay, what?
Number 5.
Okay, Perry
Yes.
from Rosalind. Do you have a hard time riding with your kids up and about?
Yes, it's absolutely impossible, actually, for me to write when the kids are up and about. So I write during nap time. I've got them all taking naps at exactly the same time, and so that's when I write. Hi, Matthew. Willis.
Hey,
The other Matthew. How many Matthews do we have on here now?
At least 2.
At least two.
I was gonna answer that question, then I just realized I don't have kids now.
Kate's like, yes, all these kids here, they're so loud and
Oh, you're
Just
such a good
wait till we're in bed, you know.
I'm sorry.
How about for you, Kate? What's your favorite writing snack and drink?
I really like chai tea. Like I like making my own, taking cinnamon tea and just adding stuff to it to make it yummy. And then as far as writing snack, I actually kind of like butterscotch hard candies. They last for a while and they're really good. So,
Which question?
Okay.
Autumn is her season.
We're
That's why
one
she's
for
into
each.
like
Oh,
the
Paul,
tea
yes.
stuff.
Have you ever burst out laughing while you're working on your book? I wrote with him the November that he did his novel, so
Oh,
and
okay.
he tied himself up on the ground or like
No,
pretended
he- yeah.
to and
to
tried
see if he
use a
could get
dagger.
I
his
did.
dagger and untie himself.
I
and
did
I
try
was
that.
like,
Yeah.
"Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Tyler and I acted out a fight scene I was trying to write, so. But because I'm shorter than him, he had to squat down so he could get the height
Aw,
right.
that's so cute.
It's adorable.
Oh dear. I don't think I've ever like burst out laughing at my own writing before, except for when I've had beta readers going through and commenting on things and finding things that were hilarious that weren't supposed to be hilarious, but
They were.
areas, and they point them out. That's been really funny.
That's awesome. What's this?
Jenny
Oh,
says
yeah, the-
butterscotch rocks.
Anna,
Hmm.
what's your favorite character in the book you're writing now? Rosalind wants to know.
Oh.
Is
The
this
old
like
guy.
spoilers or
The
are you
old
kidding?
guy?
Yeah, the old guy. You
both.
like the old guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the main character's most like me, so there's times when I like her and really identify with her, and then there's times when I'm like, just stop. So I would say there's a guy named Thrush, and he's hardly even in it. He's quite the side character, but he's just really great. He's always there for the main character. What?
Kate
He's
likes
always-
him currently.
Yeah, he's always there for the main character and just really solid and just
I
sweet.
smell a sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the readers can decide.
I think he should just die in the climax.
See,
Some
this is- I don't-
somebody important needs to die.
No,
in the
they do.
climax.
Someone does. Oh,
Honestly,
Spoilers, sweetie.
But not Thrush, right?
no,
well,
not
this
that.
is the part where Tyler leaves the live stream. They did a River Song line.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do one from Bethany.
She's a little creepy.
Oh, I like that one.
Bethany, which one?
Favorite.
Favorite novel music?
Oh,
You guys know that one?
Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What do you think?
Ooh,
What's your
okay,
favorite novel in music?
It depends on what I'm writing. I actually change my music based on the book I'm writing or even like the scene I'm writing. Like if I'm writing a more sentimental scene, I'll like put up that kind of music. But my first two books were written to Irish jigs and reels with no lyrics because
How does that feel?
the fast pace. I know you can have lyrics to jigs and reels, but the fast pace of the music and the excitement that it causes in me made me write faster. It just did. If I wasn't playing them, I was like, so that was my first couple of books. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Two Steps from Hell. I know it sounds terrible. Don't hate me.
Don't
It's actually just like a movie music group. They like write what sounds like movie music. It's really exciting. So
Yeah. So, it really depends on like my mood and what I'm working on in the story, whether or not I can listen to music with lyrics. So when I do listen to music with lyrics, it's usually Andrew Peterson, Peter Hollins, and Scott Mulvihill. I usually listen to them. There's been some times where I've had really long writing days that I exhaust all their music, and then I have to listen to somebody else's, and I pull somebody else out. Instrumental music I like though. I try to listen to piano guys, but I don't get any writing done because I'm too busy singing along with the cello. And
You sing with the cello.
Sing along with it.
it's an alto.
well, that's perfect. I
There you
love
go.
it. Yeah.
So
Works.
my main one that I like listen to her entire channel is Taylor Davis. She does violin music. It's gorgeous.
So
It's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That was my answer. Taylor Davis. She does like covers of like cool movie music and
It's
stuff.
all
She's a violin
Beautiful
player.
Yeah,
violin.
it's violin, and she also
She's
orchestrates
great.
some stuff behind it.
Okay, thanks.
It's just amazing.
I mostly listen to movie music. I guess there's been a couple of times when I've listened to like some Andrew Peterson songs about heaven or something. Like if I need someone to die, it kind of sets the mood for me.
There's a
But
theme.
but usually Usually without lyrics is best for me, and I like all the Hans Zimmer, was it John Paul?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, John Powell, John
Yes.
Williams.
All those guys. I
All those
really
famous
like.
people.
I really like
There's a reason they're famous.
the soundtrack to The Odd Life of Timothy Green.
Yes,
For
that is
writing?
a really good one.
It's
That was an
always
odd
mixing
movie.
between like really happy, sad, or just kind of wistful. And
Ambient.
Mhm.
that's really nice.
It kind of feels happy, but at the same time, you're just like, why am I gonna cry right now? So it's kind of perfect for a story.
And if you want to be really sad, turn on Rose Taylor's theme.
Or turn on the theme. What is it from The Giver?
Yes, the song
What's her name?
Rosemary's Theme.
Rosemary's theme.
That one's good.
You need to listen to that
I know what
one.
you're talking about.
You need to listen to that one. It's
Okay,
terrible.
I will look it up.
Sweet. Do we have any
So
more?
who discovered
We
Cat
could go
now?
through these again because there's some more.
There's a lot more.
Do we have any on Facebook we should?
Oh, somebody know what inspired my short story.
Stronger for language.
Okay, what
Okay,
inspired?
who is this?
Carrie's-
Oh,
it's
Libby.
Okay. What inspired Stronger for Language? I love Andromeda and Kenzie and those aliens.
Probably your
Oh.
kids.
Yeah, my kids
Inspired.
totally inspired Stronger for. So that's one of my short stories. And my kids actually talk just like Kenzie's kids in there, where they'll say so even the title Stronger for Language. My kids will say, someday I will be stronger for driving a dump truck, or I will be stronger for flying in a, So they literally use that phrase, and I thought, wow. I was thinking one day about how I kind of have like their dialect going around in my head, and I can translate what they say, and other people are just like, what was that? What are they talking about? And I realized as a mom, I get used to deciphering the funny phrases that they come up with. And I realized I was like, I have like linguistic skill. Like, what if there was actually a use for that outside of just interpreting my kids? And so in that story, it's a sci-fi story. So the mom helps her husband out when their spaceship makes contact with this new alien race called the Goa'uld, and
They're actually really cute.
they're kind of cool aliens. They have like these little green things on their heads. But anyway, yeah, I think was that the whole question? I think it was.
Yeah. That was inspired it.
Do you have any Facebook ones that need answering?
Probably. There's like a
So-
bajillion of them.
You guys
Here's
And
kind
if
of a funny one.
I was thinking actually, if we can't answer all the ones on the Facebook feed, we can always go in and like type in replies later.
That works.
So
Oh, yeah.
Libby did ask one here. She said, "Who's your parents' favorite?"
troublemaker, that Libby. I might.
Wow.
Well, obviously, I'm my dad's favorite because I'm the only boy.
Yeah, he's their least
know,
favorite
so-
and their favorite.
He is everyone's favorite son.
Favorite
I
son,
am.
favorite
I'm the
brother.
favorite brother,
Mhm.
and I'm the brother they all hate. So
Wow.
kind of at the same time, it works.
Dark.
It works both ways.
I think our parents have been really, really adamant about the no favorites thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're really good at
They
it.
always point to like Jacob and Esau, and they're like, "Now look how that turned out." So
No, they're really good at making us all feel loved.
Basically, this time Perry's gonna get the blessing, and we're just gonna leave it that way.
What?
I'm confused.
Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
Everybody says
We're not
Tyler
gonna
counts
mess
as
it.
a brother now.
Oh, it's true. We do have a brother.
True,
that's
but I don't think you can ever take the place of favorite.
so brutal.
And for in Perry's case at least, he's not her brother-in-law.
That's right. He's my husband.
Right.
So
So,
you're
I'm
still my
always
favorite
I'm
brother.
always your
He's
favorite brother.
still.
All right. Do you have any more questions on that? Anybody?
She says, "Who are the closest siblings?" Amy says,
Like in ages or
In ages? Closest in age?
Oh,
Hey,
closest
Willette.
in age, so we're all. Perry and Amy are 3 years apart. And then the last two are 3 years apart, and everybody else is like exactly 2
Right,
years
and then
apart.
you and Paul are actually the closest. I mean, you're
In
still
age.
2 years apart, but
"We're 2 years
in age, yeah.
So I'd say we do have different dynamics. There are ones of us who just like click better, like mom calls us the twins. And then Autumn and Paul are pretty big buddies. They like doing the same things.
Oh,
And then like the little girls, because they're on a similar level, they all play together a lot. But we try to mix and match it a lot, just make sure everyone gets to be friends with each other. So there are combinations that are more zany.
We're
or
the peanut
combinations-
gallery right here."
Um,
Paul's just like,
There are some of us that are
Okay.
photo bombers. I mean, we just have some of each.
Alex McGilvery asks, "What's your favorite antagonist in your books?"
You can start on it.
Oh, my antagonist is so confusing because the antagonist in Eagle Dare is actually just more of like the time period because it's World War II,
Yeah.
and so it's not really a certain like one person that's the villain. It's more an antagonistic force, but there's this mysterious person kind of behind it all that you don't know if even exists, and that's where the sequel might come in. I really like that person. They're very changeable. They're just like really complicated.
There's also the main character's inner demons.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'd say with hers, it's more of an antagonistic force and a personal struggle, and there is a big like she got all the different types of antagonists.
All
and
of them. It's terrible because she has to defeat all of them in the climax,
So-
obviously. Well, not all of them.
My favorite antagonist in my book, he's like, well, actually, there's a lot of different antagonist forces and circumstances and stuff. But my favorite antagonist, he's a straight up pagan, like he worships like some sort of pantheon of gods or something, and he's a little creepy.
His name is Lauren, and he wears
Lorian, and he's like really like pale face, like this.
and he wears like a gross old Superman T-shirt.
That's all the favorite part.
No,
He's kind of
Oh, man.
he's a character.
yeah,
So
he's creepy.
I don't think I've ever written a straight up villain. It's more an antagonistic force, like some of the circumstances or
Like,
the story set in time before. In my fantasy story Awake, there is a villain who is a little bit more misguided. There's somebody who's kind of been messing with his mind, not actually mind control, but kind of feeding him ideas. So in that, there's like different layers of villains. So I'm pretty interested in getting to work on that. So, favorite villain?
I do a lot of antagonistic forces too. I think probably though, I guess my Kitten Files books do have the most villainy villains, and I think actually the villains in my latest one are my favorite. There's
Really?
two. Yeah.
I haven't got to read it. So.
Yeah, the robbers are not what you expect, and they're kind of quirky. One of them has a serial habit, obviously, and hence the title, the serial robber. Yeah, so I think they're my favorite. What did you say yours was?
My favorite is gonna be
Awake.
In a week.
Oh, gonna be. Yeah, that guy's interesting.
We have a couple more here, actually. Mallory asks our best advice for publishing.
That's a long answer.
Right?
Long answer. Maybe that one should be just typed out.
Harry kind of has
Yeah.
a blog about it called like wordcool.com. That's where I always send people.
Yeah, there's a lot of info there. But basically, I say just read a lot about the different companies and what to avoid.
And don't use Lulu.
Don't use it.
Sorry, Lulu.
Yeah, that's controversial.
We just prefer how Create-Space books look,
Turn out, yeah.
and I think
The price is better. Yeah, the price is better. What is something you feel indie writing lacks?
Like, I guess I'll answer in our own. I know what ours lacks, and then in what I see out there. So, because it's so easy to publish, and there's no like publishing house that makes you edit. Sometimes people can't discount on the editing, or discount on the plotting, and that is really sad to me because they do have a good story, and when I read it, and I'm like, if it just a little more would be really good. I'm not as picky about editing as some people are. It doesn't bother me as much, which is just a personal thing. So I think some more attention to editing and plotting in that community would be good. Lately, there have been some people who have turned out some really good stuff. Like I've kind of watched that community grow up a little bit, and there's been some really good stuff. What our own lacks, I'm learning how to do side plots. I get so focused on my main theme that it's hard for me to like have a lot of side plots. So I have some side lots in my most recent novel. but I'm learning to think a little bit more complicatedly. And then, of course, something that our community doesn't have is marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing.
The marketing
So,
is really challenging.
Marketing is hard because it's all you doing it.
Great.
I think my books lack, well,
Love.
yeah, they lack
Yes,
love.
they
They like love.
They're cold-hearted
Okay,
and
we were editing his book for him, and the paperback copy, and we were literally drawing hearts in places in the margins. It was
Where
really
they should
fun.
not be.
Where they should, where the light doesn't go.
okay, that's not what I was gonna say, but as my style in Crossroads, it's like really it's like really choppy, like sparse, like short sentences a lot of the time, and I think that worked. I like that for like an action, more action based story, that sort of thing, fast paced. I think it worked, and also the genre being dystopian, kind of futuristic, that sort of thing. In the novella I'm writing right now, which is World War II, it's kind of a whole different. It's not even like action World War II. It's a little bit more like on the home front sort of thing. It's got a family and that sort of thing. So that's part of why I'm writing it slowly is I want to make sure it's a little bit the style's a little bit more. I don't want it to be the same choppy action thing. I want it to be a little bit more thoughtful and
That makes sense.
slow,
Yeah.
more prose.
What would you say?
I forgot what the question was.
What is something you feel indie writing lacks?
Oh. I don't know.
That I almost feel like that question would have been easier to answer like several years ago because indie writing
Yeah.
has exploded so much. There's
Yeah.
some of
It used-
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah, like I
used to
said, it's
lack.
grown up a lot.
I think that it used to lack like epicness or something. It was like it was trying,
Trying but not quite
trying
getting
but
there.
not quite getting there. Like historical fiction books were a little bit too historical,
Mm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think now people have
There's a
like
lot of good.
there's a lot of good like adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like-
you can find something amazing in almost every
It's
genre.
like 70% of what I read sometimes.
Yeah,
There's some really good stuff.
for sure.
What would you say?
I feel like, and I feel like it's been this way for a long time, but young adult Christian stuff, especially for girls, that's like just really kind of sweet and interesting. It's a hard balance to strike. And it's just there's not a lot of stuff out there for that. It's either romance or kind of you get the catty school environment in there, which isn't super encouraging. It's kind of something to be discouraged by. And so that's why like I'm always plugging that Family Reunion book by Kelsey Bryant because
That
that's
is
like
such a good
that
book.
is the first book I found that was indie Christian for teen girls and was just so
It's just fun.
sweet
It's just
and
about the
solid
light.
and fun and
Yeah.
realistic. It
That's
was
good.
so
Yeah.
good. So
And for a little bit of an older audience, it's a newer release. It's Left to Die. It's by Ivy Rose. It's a novella, but it's very pro-life. It's like about a girl who's a missionary with her family in China. So it's
Ooh.
pretty cool.
It froze on Ellison. That might be on her end though.
yeah, it looks good on our end. So I don't know. Hopefully it's
We're still connected over here,
hopefully it's
but
going.
We actually have more viewers on.
Someone else
YouTube right
asked, "How did you start a writing community?" Because you guys have mentioned that.
We just told everyone that they need to write. No.
I think they kind of dared each other to
Yeah.
do NaNoWriMo
it
as
started
well.
with an NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
And then they had to talk to each other to survive.
Yeah, so some people had already been, had like a story going for a long time and they've been kind of just dabbling in writing a little bit. But then when we moved here from Oregon, we're kind of like, we like to write too, you like to write? And we'd always be talking about the different projects and stuff. And then we all launched into NaNoWriMo 2016, and that kind of got everyone just like rolling.
It was kind of gradual too, though. Like it'd be fun. You'd be talking to someone wrote, and someone else would walk up and they'd start talking about the story they've been writing for a long time.
People you didn't even think wrote.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say. Some people,
Right.
everybody always says, "Oh, I want to write a book," but
Yeah.
nobody ever is like, "Do you write?" Oh, me too. Now let's do it together.
Yeah.
Right. So we started doing that. We started finding all our friends, mostly at our church, but who either wanted to write or were already writing stuff and that sort of thing. And we got them all together and we said we're going to do NaNoWriMo. We've done that a couple times, camps and stuff. And each time it just
We
I don't
did.
know, more and more people.
Yeah, it just got
We
bigger and
did
bigger.
have people over and like write with them. So Harry did one a couple times where we like discuss our story a little bit at the beginning, and then we all just sit quietly, or at least try to.
Just
And,
right.
like,
And just right.
So those are some of our best ideas for starting a community. Just kind of happen to us
find
organically.
people, and
invite them
invite
to be
them
part
to
of
come
it,
do it with you.
and it will snowball.
Let me see if you want to. Did we kind of already answer this one? How many books have you each written now?
Oh, I don't know.
You could just give a number
First,
fast.
published. How about we just say published? Because that's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah,
You've done what, like 8?
Yeah, I've done like
I'm at
Yeah.
3.
I'm at 1 and like
Um,
an ebook.
yeah.
Yeah, we have some
This
short
counts.
stories too.
0.
That's okay.
She's working on it.
You
So
have
back.
time.
I'm
Stay
working on it.
tuned.
Yes, basically that.
I did start my blog though, so I can like start getting into the world and like getting known out there. Getting into the world. Well, that's so bad. No, but like start getting known and like talk about what I'm writing. Allison.
Allison
Hi, Allison.
asks, what is your favorite time of the day to write?
Your answer is easy.
Nap time! The kids are all asleep and I get to focus. And then by the time evening rolls around and they're in bed again, usually my brain is just dead by that point. I
You do
used
that
to
a lot,
write in
yeah.
the evening, but
So I like to write like mid-morning to
Oh,
afternoon.
sign up,
That's usually when everyone else is doing school, and so it's quieter. But I also those are like my most productive hours. If I'm really excited about my story and I haven't had time to write all day, I will write in the evening. But it does work a lot better if I do it earlier. Favorite time to write?
Usually early in the morning, which I'm not a morning person. But there was something about like if I can make myself, like especially during NaNoWriMo, if I can make myself wake up early in the morning when the house is quiet and my brain hadn't been used for the day, it worked really well. As far as if I'm going for like quantity and quality and everything, that was the best time. Most of the time, if I'm gonna write, it's just usually after I finish my schoolwork for the day or something like that.
And your favorite time?
I am a total night owl. So when I'm supposed to go to bed is when I like to write, I guess. That's when I get the most writing done. And then later. During NaNoWriMo, he did get me up really early and we just went, like before anyone was making the house loud, and we just went and wrote. And I actually did pretty good with that, but
Knocked out a couple thousand.
Yeah,
I'd
mostly.
wake up at a reasonable time and be like, "Hi,
where's
I have
breakfast?
Hey,
3,000 words written. Where's breakfast?"
Okay, JD Sutter has a fun question. He says, what is the best indie published book you've read recently? And we can't choose each other's.
Oh, let's see.
I can't even think of that.
What was I
Wow.
reading recently?
You've been reading Left to Die.
Yeah, I was reading Left to Die by what's her name?
Ivy Rose.
Ivy Rose.
I have no in the brain. I
It's
can't
good.
even remember what I was
I like
I
reading.
know. I need to go look at my Goodreads.
Okay, so
What have I been reading?
oh man,
Here.
I'd have to choose between Kate's Innocence, the first one,
Oh
by
yeah.
Sarah Holman,
Mm.
and A Different Kind of Courage by Sarah Holman. Yes, they're both by Sarah Holman because I've been doing like a reading challenge thing for summer, and I was like, I need to read some of these.
I
Both
collect
were
her
really good.
books.
Oh, Hope Ann. I've been reading Burning Rose. I'm stuck in Song of the Sword right now, but
Like epic fantasy. Right?
yes.
Oh man.
It's like allegorical. Really good. Let's see whether I read
Oh, I
recently.
forgot about that one. That's a good one.
We're taking our Goodreads because we have terrible
It's
brains.
like I've read so
Oh,
much and
okay.
I felt
Shallows.
like-
It's like a fantasy kind of mostly, and that was really good too. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's
you
indie. I
guys
think
did just
is that
read
indie
that.
published? Do you guys know?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so bummer I can't pick your guys' books because like I really like to hear it, but it's against the rules to say that
I
right.
know, right? Wow, I'm looking.
Yes.
Yeah,
Most
really.
There's Create by Perry, you know.
Who's that? That was.
That's a short story. I'm not sure that even counts.
Okay, so the most recent ones I've read that weren't by Sibling were Kate's Innocence by Sarah Holman. It's an FBI book. It is really good. I actually read it just like 8 months ago and I had to read it again because it was so good. And I'm reading the sequel to it. And then I read Shallows and Phantoms by Denver Evans. They're kind of like, what would you say? Steampunk, kind of, but they also have a little bit of paranormal, which is abnormal for me. but
Speculative.
but they they have like really strong pro-life things. Like the author doesn't say in it she's a Christian or something, but you can tell that she probably is because it just comes through. So they're really good. Best indie published thing you've read?
I haven't read a lot recently because I've been busy.
Yeah.
But I've been reading kind of slowly. Left to Die by Abby Rose, and it's really good. I like it.
It sounds good.
It's
I'm
good.
not sure if this. I think this one's indie. I'm pretty sure it's
Oh,
indie. It might be
that one?
Small Press.
Yeah.
Common by Lori Lucking. It's kind of a Cinderella retelling, but it's so good. It's full of heart, and it's really sweet.
I want to read that
enjoyed
one.
it.
I saw the
This
cover,
one's
so it's good to
super
know you like it.
Yeah, I
I'll
really
read it.
did like it. It was very good. And then I also fairly recently read, I guess last month, I read October by J. Grace Pennington. That is a hard read. It's not for everyone, but I think she did really well tackling issues of like mental health and that kind of stuff from the viewpoint of a friend of someone with mental health. So it was very good. I don't think I would recommend it to everyone, but it's
Yeah,
I
it sounds
really-
like she did it like
I
really
appreciated it.
compassionately.
I thought it was very good.
Clearly, yeah.
So
So Allison says, "What is one genre you'd probably never write in?" So there's obviously,
Some we
Obviously
would never read.
Yeah.
I would say something you'd never write in because they
they're
tend to
icky.
go with immorality. But the genre I would probably never write in. I would probably never write in like official historical fiction. I think JD asked that, do we hate research? And the answer is yeah, for me.
Yes.
And I think I've been a little bit burned by some books have been so researched that like the research just like ends up dumped into it.
Reading an academic
Yeah,
paper.
too much.
Oh, and like
So-
it goes into like it's great, and then there's a chapter of like timeline.
like,
It
what
can
kind
be
of
done
tissues
really,
they have.
really well, but it's
Right.
really hard.
So, I really think like I am unlikely to write in that genre. We'll see though.
So this random lady here, we'll get back to the rest of the
She doesn't
question.
even have a profile picture.
But she
Was
just
she a
asked,
stalker? Oh.
why do you all look
It's our
alike?
mom.
it's
It's our mom. It's our mom.
Because of you, Mom.
What brilliant person suggested Perry do something with her writing
You
when she
did.
was younger?
The
Mom
answer's
did.
Mom did.
Also, the answer to the previous question. We all look alike because Mom
And Dad.
and Dad. They
And Dad.
actually kind of look alike. They have like the same hair color and eye color.
So tell the
Yeah.
story of Heavens Declare, how she made you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was 14 and I liked to write, but I also needed to do something for science. And so she said, well, there's this thing out there called living science books that homeschool people like, where it's a story, but it teaches you something about a science topic while you're reading the story. You kind of don't realize you're learning.
Mhm.
I said, oh, that's cool. So I went and I researched the planets, and then I worked it all into a story, and there we had it.
So I would probably never write like a straight on like romance story because it'd probably turn into a comedy.
Oh
and
my
it would
gosh.
Confuse people.
That is a genre. Romantic
And then
comedy is
some-
a genre.
I know,
And
but
then
it
someone
wasn't
would
supposed
die.
to be. It would.
And someone would die.
It would
yeah.
just. Yeah.
What would you never write? You think?
I think actually I could write a romance. I think I could. I would. It would have to be romantic comedy, of course, but yeah, I think I
Of
could
course.
make her do that.
Yeah.
How
She
about
would be
I'm
like,
good at that.
how about action romance? Like
Action
adventure
romance?
romance.
That's
I'm
a
saying that. No, I'm not. No, it's not a romance.
Don't get ideas.
It's not. It's not a romance.
No, you can
You
you can add a side of romance to just about any
Mom
genre.
says, "Love you so much, author quads."
Aw,
She also asked if it's lunchtime in Pacific
I
time
don't know. Is it
Yes.
lunchtime?
Thanks, Allison.
Okay, what genre are you never writing in?
Well, horror. Never read
Yes.
horror, even though I like spec fic. Horror is not my thing.
No.
Oh, you like spec fic? How nice. Sorry.
Let me see. Well, I actually just made a stunning realization about myself. And I read
Introspection.
some like clean romance or Christian romance, but I always end up really grumpy and like feeling like
Yeah.
inner turmoil while I'm reading it. And I finally was like, what is the deal with that? And I realized I'm empathetic enough that when I'm reading something where there's like relational drama or someone feeling totally out of sorts, I actually take on those feelings. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not sure I could actually write something like that.
I mean,
Yeah,
tell you,
it
I
has
got
to be a little bit lighter than that.
Well,
like,
or
not so
Even
terrible.
if the stakes are high,
Yeah.
It's fine. As long as the emotion isn't like front and center. We can blow up spaceships. We can solve crimes. I'm cool with all of that. But if the emotion is like right there,
Yeah.
I will literally take it on and I will feel that emotion all day.
Oh,
That's why I don't write
You like the way
stories.
Doctor Who just reminds me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I got pretty exhausted at some points writing this, just because it was so.
Kira.
It had like some personal, not personal to me, but like personal to the characters. Things that happened. It wasn't just like a random town blew up and there was nacho dust everywhere. It was like this person is having a really hard day, and I like poured my own emotions into it, and so
It's
it was
exhausting.
pretty.
Yeah. Oh, Mom says, name a famous person, past or present, with whom you'd like to take tea and why.
T. C.S. Lewis.
Oh, can I come?
Just steal that one.
I need to take a person
Jack.
from the past and a person
Not your
from
dad.
the present.
Oh.
I think. Well, let's see what I have. Well, it'd be nice to have Michaela there, but we're gonna
Come
do
on,
something else. We're
Michaela.
gonna have fun. Let's see. T. Famous person. Oh, they have to be famous. Oh. I think I'd have C.S. Lewis and G.K. Chesterton, and they'd be hilarious.
Let's
could
just
just
have a
sit there
big
and watch
let's just
them.
have a
Yeah.
big old
And
tea
Dad.
party because I'm coming to that one too.
Yeah,
Cool,
I
let's
think
go
we
to
all
one tea
want
party.
tea with C.S. Lewis. That
I mean,
works.
I'm not
I'll bring the
even
snacks.
I'm not even like a tea drinker,
But you would drink
but
tea.
I would drink tea with him.
Well, and Chesterton would be cracking himself up the whole time.
Paul
saying
and
stuff
Chesterton
no
would
one
be
else
like-
understands.
If Paul could speak, he might just be like, "Oh, it's Chesterton."
He'd be like, tell me, the new man alive. What's it like being in a 1-to-7 ratio, Paul? Did you get another question? That wasn't one.
1 to
That
7
wasn't
ratio.
Mom. I don't know. Else there.
We love Mom's questions.
I think there's enough of me to go around, you know, to kind of balance it out. So I got a big ego.
You
that
are
kind
the
of like balances out.
Is that like Peter Pan's
He's the
shadow
tallest in the
where
room.
it like follows you?
I think I'm mostly kidding about that, but mostly.
Oh, Austin had asked.
It's fun.
Oh, okay.
Do you like to mess with your readers, hinting things throughout the story but not revealing it till the next book?
Yes, that's my villain right now. That's yes.
Right under the radar.
Which is terrible because I might not have sequels. So
I actually never planned from the beginning to have a series. Like, series are kind of a new concept for me. So I haven't dropped that much in there. So,
what is
Yeah.
Mom saying?
I think
her internet's
I
slow.
have accidentally put some interesting things in the first book that I will draw on for the second book. We'll see. If I ever plan a series all at once, I might.
So
Tempted to do
kind of,
that.
it's not a series, but our books are related here, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
she hints at some things in hers that are in mine, and you have to read them closely to get the connection. But
They did a blog post about that actually.
It
that
was
hysterical.
fun.
Allison asks, what is a place you would like to visit for future story research?
London.
my fantasy world.
Blue box.
Hey,
Good
that
one.
doesn't
Easy
count.
It's like everywhere
Everywhere.
at all times.
Like summer. Let's see. Where would I like to go for story research? Well, so actually none of my stories currently need research like that. Oh yes, more like places I would like to travel. I'd like to travel to the UK because it's got all this really cool history and it's got great landscape and everything, and
Brick buildings.
all the really cool dead authors are buried there. I would also love to go to Israel because that's like part of our
Buried there
roots.
too.
So
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I don't really have like a research need, but as far as like inspiration, I would totally go to the UK. Make sure to stop off in Ireland.
Scotland's nice too.
Yeah, that too. There's cool stuff to see all over the place.
Europe would be cool.
Switzerland would be really cool. I don't know.
Should we share that?
So,
where'd you go?
yeah.
I don't know because I kind of have to go to the future
Washington D.C. in the future, like
if that's possible.
If
Oh,
you
no,
need
no,
to
you
go to
gotta-
a dystopian
that's
setting,
what
just
we
find the nearest paintballing arena because those all look destroyed anyway.
True. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's great. Do we have anything else on?
We could answer another one
We
of
have some
Destiny's
more on
questions
here.
here.
We
She's
can
got a
answer,
couple.
or we can answer in the comments later.
Yeah.
England has tons of things.
Yes, Olivia. I so want to go to England.
Yes.
It's not the
We
safest
will
place
visit
right
you.
now,
That's not.
but we will visit
Oh,
you.
hi, Lauren.
Well, I don't know. We will
You
visit
don't even
you,
have a passport.
and that's okay. No. And I will probably fall off a roof because
That's where
I
she'll
mean
be.
that's where I'll be up on the roof for
You-
character.
You guys can
research.
help us make a Buckingham Palace card back.
Yes, you guys have to help me make a Buckingham Palace card back.
Okay, we got more questions all of a sudden. Okay,
Woo.
Matthew Platt wants to know how we select the names of our characters.
They happen.
Kate, actually, we go to Kate. We go. We need a name for this
Kate.
character.
Kate,
No.
when Kate was, how old were you?
Friend?
10 maybe?
Maybe.
She had a notebook with pages and pages
Look,
of names.
it was a roster for a fictional army that never fought. They just ate.
They ate
Truly.
spaghetti.
And they had names.
And-
Every
They
single one.
spaghetti.
of
So
them
she
had
could
names.
refer to them all by name, but it was
There
like
were
an
only
army.
300 soldiers though. I got lost after that.
And they ate spaghetti all the
So
time. And they're
baby
always
name
staying
books
in
are
there.
helpful, right? Because you even
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
you're not writing like contemporary, because there's a lot of like names in there that are from another culture, and you can be like, oh, that sounds like a
Like
fantasy
nature
name.
names. I love
Yeah.
nature names.
I have made some up in the Twin Arrows. Ryla, I don't think is actually usually a name, and
But
then
it should be.
yes, it sounds like a name, so I go with that.
Also,
Like
Paige,
when I make them up, I try not to make them sound weird.
pay attention to like brand names and stuff because they've both gotten names off of like she got a name off the brand for teddy bear.
Mhm. Yeah.
And like a pencil case or something.
Yeah, I have a Pony Express writer named after my pencil case.
Awesome.
So
My names happen and then they're stuck. Like I have a seriously hard time renaming a character if I
no,
get
it's impossible.
It's like this is
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
My main character in this was easy. It's action adventure, this guy sort of thing, and so you go, what should he be named? Jack.
Jack. Duh.
So I didn't do Jack.
I named
But
like
it has a reason.
60% of the characters in this, so I'm just
No, not
Yeah.
even 60. Most of them are dead by the
So-
time of this book.
yeah. I'm like okay.
So the funny thing though about my main character's name is because I thought it was kind of funny and typical that his name was Jack. I built that into the story where that's actually this is spoilers, but he's going under another name. This isn't his original name,
You need to make up
and
a new
he
name.
was a little kid when he changed his name. So he was like, "What should I be?" Jack.
That's what he thought of.
That's what he thought. So I
That's
kind of
great. I love it.
Yeah. So
made an excuse.
for me, character names just happen. They're part of like creating the character, and then the characters ask for a story. That sounds creepy, but because I have, like they said, I have such a big database in there that I kind of just pull one out that seems to go with what I'm looking for.
And I've used Fantasy Name Generator website before. It's
Really?
it's fun.
Cool.
Oh yeah, no, you can select like different. If you need a name that sounds like an elf, you can have it generate random names for that.
That's so
Some of them
cool.
are really weird, and you're like, well, that doesn't work because it's just like auto
Gobbledygook.
generating stuff. But there's some you get really fun stuff that you can work with.
Yeah.
If you could travel to one place in the U.S., where would it be?
I have this huge road trip plan.
Yeah, so your road trip. You have like
Okay, so like being an online writing community, I know a lot of really cool
Right.
people. So I need to kind of go. So we live in the south, southwest. I need to just kind of just drive across and then up and then over.
Go up the Eastern
I don't know
Seaboard.
anybody in Canada. I need to work on that.
I have
So,
people
like,
friends in
I
Canada.
know, yeah, we have
There's like 5 super cool people in Texas, and then
Which
all
isn't
my
hard to
favorite-
do because Texas is like
It's huge, yeah. And then there's a couple really cool people in Colorado, New Mexico, and then all my favorite musicians live in Tennessee. Of course, you gotta go through there. There's a conference
Yep.
there, and then I need to hit Ohio. I need to visit cousins in Missouri, and then just keep going.
Love it.
I think I'll take that road trip with her, but I don't know. That'd be fun to see DC because I know there's a lot of history there.
yeah.
I don't necessarily
Sit my
like
mind.
modern
That
days.
to me, that would be my answer. I want to go see all the historical places on the East
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coast.
that would
Like,
be cool.
you know,
You could do a Civil War
I want to
tour.
go to
We need to see the
Pennsylvania.
ocean too.
I want to go to
Oh, that's
Philadelphia.
true.
I want to
Yes,
go
yes,
to
yes,
DC. I want to go. I've actually recently really gotten hankering to just experience New York City, which is really weird because
I
I am
know.
not a city person.
No, but
Right.
we're kind of related to it.
But you've seen it so many
It's-
times in the superhero
There's
movies.
so much culture there.
Blown up.
I need to see it not blown
You
up.
need to see it all in
Like
one
supervillains.
piece
Yes,
because
Yes, still
pretty
be on the
soon
list.
you might not
Right, if the
See it.
supervillains invade.
you won't ever see
I will
New
lost my
York.
chance.
Oh,
in one
we'll
piece.
visit you, Angela.
We will visit you.
We'll
Yeah.
visit you.
If we ever like,
Yes, we gotta go to
get this road
Tennessee
trip
and
off
just
the
like make
ground.
this happen. I love
Yes.
it.
We'll have like a
Austin's like visiting your family members.
Yes,
Austin, that's you.
absolutely.
That is you. Yes.
Mhm.
When are Anna and Paul joining Facebook?
so I
Actually,
actually don't go looking for it because there's almost nothing there, but I have a Facebook author page that I intend to use sometime. So you can follow me and interact with me there sometime. Not yet.
Not yet. Hold on.
I'll probably be joining Goodreads before I join Facebook, just because I like the bookish community focus atmosphere. But I will someday.
Non-committal answer.
So, pretty much
Hey, JD says New York City is
everything
awesome.
there. Do you want a couple more from here and then wrap it up?
So do we want another question here from Bethany?
We could do
It's one of
that
those.
one for the ending, or we could do Bethany.
Yeah,
Rosalind,
we
Rosalind
gotta
has the
save that for the
challenge.
end for sure.
Yes.
Rosalind has a challenge for us.
Well, that's an easy one. I'll just answer that one right off from whoever that is. Do you guys randomly debate about things?
That's Rosalind.
All the time. Yes.
Uh huh. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We like kicking around ideas. Like, so we'll ask Dad a question, and 2 hours later we will have explored all of theology, history, philosophy, science. It's
All of
really
it.
fun. Sometimes we just line them up and watch them go and like ask questions. But it's now that we're older, it's not just Dad talking.
All of us get it.
It's
on
So
that.
it's like 3 times
He'll
longer.
ask us questions, and he's gonna preach this Sunday, so he's been requesting. He's like, "Can you guys read this passage and come with your ideas to me?" Because
We were at the
really
hair
values
cutter.
that.
Story starter.
Yes.
Conversation starter.
We were at the hair cutters. He pulls out his phone with the Bible on it, and he starts asking about the passage he's gonna preach this Sunday, and like making us read it and having us tell him what we think and
That's
stuff.
funny. That's kind of
Yeah.
like the same thing we do when we're writing a story, except he's writing a sermon.
Yes.
I get it.
Actually, he's taken us to a coffee shop before, and we were all 3 of us were like discussing, what does this mean, and like doing cross referencing and stuff. We noticed the guy behind us was listening, just got reading book, right?
Right.
And so Dad started turning the conversation to the gospel, and it was so cool. We were just all like, oh yeah, you just like playing along and stuff.
Hey,
It was-
Philip.
He was
Hi,
totally,
Philip.
So
Ah! and so he was totally paying attention, and it was really cool because he like thanked Dad afterwards and stuff. It was so neat.
That's
I was
really
like,
cool.
"Aw."
somebody asked if we've ever been to Serbia.
I
Then
have
what?
never been to Serbia.
Where's
Have you?
Sophia?
I'm sorry.
Ouch.
I totally.
Someone pull up Google Maps. No.
It's on Mars. It's on the
No.
other side.
Is it?
No. It's a real country, my dear.
Theological debates are so much
They're very
fun.
fun.
They're
Yeah,
so
fun.
much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Philip asks, "What's up?" Except
I'll just
Ceiling.
ask it back. What's up? Yep.
Let's see. There's a popcorn ceiling, which
Yeah.
is amazing, guys. I really love it.
and a
It's a
fluorescent light.
fluorescent light and a fan. There's
Air
an air
vent.
vent.
This room needs a makeover.
And like, yeah.
There might be a cobweb. I don't know. I can't see it. So who knows?
Some nail holes. I think.
Anyway.
Kaya.
Okay.
We need to like get more questions or something because like new people are getting on. And we don't have.
Well, we have more.
We're
Well,
sitting here
let's
thinking.
see. That was funny. But Penny's last one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, of all the siblings, who is the least and most organized?
Don't
And-
embarrass anyone.
Oh.
Wait, of the siblings here or of all
Yeah,
the
let's
siblings?
yeah,
just
of the
siblings
siblings here.
Oh.
And
Oh no, gross. Philip says asbestos.
oh,
What?
Thank
He's
you,
guessing
Home
we have
Inspector.
asbestos in here.
We probably.
Thanks.
I would like to nuance this question, by narrowing it down to: are we answering that like in our regular life? Like,
Or in
are we talking about my room, or are we talking about like my creativity?
Let's just
Don't talk about this
about
room.
it.
No, I just
Just
mean
for people's sake, let's go ahead and just keep it in writing. Who's the most organized in writing and who's the least organized in writing?
Okay. What do you guys think?
I think recently Kate's been the most organized in writing. She's been actually like plotting
Plotting.
out her thing.
Yeah.
He
And,
did
like,
it though.
scheduling it. Yeah.
I had to get organized because. I mean, I agree somewhat that if I like plot something too much, it gets overworked and boring to actually write after that. but my biggest thing, the reason why I didn't finish stories before that is I'd have a great premise or something. I'd be like, this is my idea. Here's my characters. This is the sort of thing that's gonna happen, and I totally
Get lost on
get lost on the way there and run out of ideas. So I'm kind of
Oh yeah.
organized by necessity.
Are you very organized? Are you
Me?
Are you plotting?
Um, yes, they're
We made
making
her.
me.
We
They're
made her.
making me because
Like,
otherwise
really
it
don't.
won't go anywhere.
So I think I'm probably second least organized, and you're probably
yeah,
least
I'm
organized.
probably least. They've been making me, but I
When he
mostly
writes,
just
he's
have it in my
actually
head.
most organized because he plots like really hard.
And that is actually the reason why my room is the least organized, because I spend my time organizing my brain, not my life.
Yeah, he has like these
I'm
post-it
gonna use
notes
that. I'm
on
gonna
the
use
wall, like
So
of stories.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Allison says, if you're doing Camp Nano this July, what are your projects? Well, we kind of have a convention smack dab in the middle of July, so that
Yeah.
makes it really hard.
And I'm finishing a summer class, so that finishes like 2/3 of the way through July. So I'm actually gonna start. I'm gonna kind of do Camp Nano, but I'm gonna start my project on the 20th of July through the 20th of August before I go back to school, and that'll give me a month. So that will be planning the sequel for Crossroads. It's a big undertaking, another novel in a month, but
I'll be rewriting the sequel to The Twin Arrows, and if I can, I'll be working on a new story as well. But we'll see.
Are you doing it?
Eagle there,
More Eagle There!
more eagle there. I hope to get 5,000 more words done so that when he does his little novel, big novel thing with some of his friends, I might be able to get another 20,000 done then. So I'm maybe kind of like trying to get into the groove so that by the time they start, I can get a lot
don't
done.
worry, guys. We'll try to make her.
Yeah.
I'm not officially doing it, probably. I mean, I might sign up. I don't know. But like I said, I have the convention on the 13th and 14th, and so then maybe after that, if I'm not 100% exhausted, I might work on a short story. But
Cool. That'll be fun.
we'll see.
What
Yeah.
would it be?
What did
So-
Philip say?
Philip asks, what is the structure of ideas that goes into writing a story? Like, in other words, what are the steps to take it from idea to publish? So, like, what's the whole process?
Ooh.
Publishing
I have a
process
checklist for that.
Cheers.
is almost like having a baby.
Yeah, it is a lot like having a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you gotta plan the thing out to whatever extent you do. Some people plan more, some people plan less ahead of time. So you gotta get all written.
Yeah.
First draft.
Right, first draft, I prefer to let it sit, then write a second draft. I'm usually ready for beta readers, like other people to read it after the second draft. Some people it takes a little longer. So then get other people to read it and comment. Then you take their comments into consideration and fix it. And
Your
then,
rewrites, yep.
and then what happens after that?
Sarah.
Like editing, I guess.
Yeah, and then once you do editing and proofing, however you parse those specific terms, and then covers, formatting the inside, and
Any
then
sort of pre-marketing, like
Pre-marketing,
blog tours,
getting stuff set up.
Promo
And
stuff.
more proofreading. Like you have to read the entire book aloud
chocolate.
with a pen.
I have my phone read it aloud to me because I can hear stuff that I
Whoa,
don't
that's
actually-
That's so
smart.
cool.
That's smart.
Well, if I can read my book and miss all the typos, because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Hey, you
pretty
automatically
good
skip
at
over.
editing, but I will skip some, you know.
Oh my
But if
God.
I hear it, it's like the robot voice is like, and then he put the cat in, and
You're
I'm like, oh, wow.
My problem with that though, the one I was trying to use when I was trying to edit Crossroads, it would read semicolons. Like there's some punctuation it didn't get.
It would literally speak
So it would read a semicolon as semicolon.
Right.
And be like,
Mine does it occasionally. What really throws me, and this is crazy. There are certain words. The one I'm using on my iPhone works really well most of the time, but certain words it pronounces so weirdly. Now every time I write that word, I hear it
Oh,
like
no.
the thing is saying it, and I'm like, oh.
do you put it in an accent?
No, I just do like a
Oh,
standard.
I would totally put it in an accent.
I prefer like an Australian accent on mine.
Oh, Kai is asking again what kind of music we listen to when we work. Well,
So we could do instrumental or not, like each one.
right, like we already kind of answered that question. So if you go back like to the beginning when we post the full thing, you can.
But a lot of piano guys, Peter Hollins and Taylor Davis.
Taylor Davis.
And say hello to Charlotte for me. That's great.
Aww, that's awesome.
All right.
Allison Allison's going. Goodbye,
Bye,
Allison.
Bye, Allison.
We should probably.
We
go
should
soon.
probably get to.
Yeah.
I'm getting really hungry.
Mom's like, is it lunch?
I suspect she's like, I have food for you.
So what do we do for wrap up?
Well,
Well, there
We
was
could do
that one-
Rosalind's challenge.
Yeah, we could do Rosalind's challenge.
Okay.
Oh no.
That was the one. That's fine.
I'm just making sure there wasn't anything we
Like, really
Oh, we
easy.
did.
There's bad
We didn't
things,
answer
a lot
one
of
from Leona. We should answer one from Leona.
Oh yeah, right there. How often do y'all write or sprint together?
Ooh. Well, during a nano month. Like,
Yes, during
all
an
the
anime
time?
month, it's
every
like every
day,
day.
single time today.
Recently, not a whole lot. Sometimes you'll come over with the kids and we'll be like, "Hey, come off into a room somewhere and write with us."
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah. Kate, you have
Okay,
a fan.
So JD
Yeah.
does have kind of an important question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So is Kira a story that guys would enjoy? Pardon judging what by its cover, but it looks like it's aimed at the female demographic. It
That's
is
true.
mainly aimed at the female demographic. I'm a little bit unqualified to say whether or not a guy would enjoy it, obviously.
did I enjoy it?
So my dad read it and he really appreciated the theological
With the themes.
themes in it, and he appreciated the characters and stuff. Now he's my dad, so he's biased. I would recommend reading some people's reviews and seeing if it's going to be something you like. So
And there's always that look inside preview on Amazon too, where you can be like,
that is
or
true.
yes, I need to read
There
more.
were a couple chapters posted during my blog tour. I think.
You
Yeah.
can go sneak peek.
And it's not like the full plot is like romance driven or anything like that.
No,
There's
it's
stuff.
just-
There's a lot of stuff going on that is interesting. And I don't think there are really very many explosions.
I know,
There are no
tiny.
explosions.
No.
I'm surprised
Just
I liked
emotional
it.
explosions.
Dad's always
But-
teasing like it's not a good movie if there's no explosions, and of course he doesn't actually think that. But
So, what was Rosalind's challenge?
But
Oh,
there's
no.
everything we need to
Well-
know.
Yeah.
So release.
Well, let's just do it and then we can talk about it.
Okay, so,
So,
this is for
Number 11, because she has an enumerated list. Rosalind
You're
So
awesome.
organized.
Great.
wants us to do it. One, two, three.
We love writing.
There you
We
go.
did it.
We
It's
did
true, yeah. It
All
was
together.
That was
It's
good.
It's true.
In there.
Now, if you want us to do something harder, just ask us to do
Hokey pokey.
I don't
Sorry.
know, the Declaration of Independence or something in unison, and then we'll get it all mixed up. And
Yeah,
It will be a train.
It'll
Yeah,
turn into a Studio C,
we should
and we'll
get
start
off.
ad-libbing.
We should get off before people challenge us.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we
we
should
did
just
it. Gonna get
bye.
So,
All right.
I don't know if they want us to do another one of these. Are we going to? Like if
Should we
they
do
have
this
more
again?
questions?
We could.
should
Maybe
we?
not just Q&A. Maybe talking about our books or something.
Yeah, should we do this again?
Yeah.
Should we have a topic?
I
A
really
theme?
liked the mixture this time of like writing stuff, book
Yeah, and
stuff,
just, like,
and then
fun.
like, what's your favorite dessert?
Sibling
Yeah.
stuff.
How do you feel
like.
about Oreo thins?
We'll hash
Yeah.
that out
Yeah,
later.
we're gonna have to revisit
Off
that one.
screen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to doing it again sometime. That's
Oh,
awesome.
Olivia says we should. So
Olivia
Okay,
says we
well,
should, so
Olivia says we should, so there you go.
Yeah.
at least for Olivia,
So I don't know, she likes each say 3 wise words or something.
3 wise
three
words.
wise words. Like how do you finish?
No.
There we go.
Lila says.
I have my 3.
See,
So
That's like a family
That
joke.
was like Willis Hive break
Do you
right
see
there.
what
We
I-
all thought of the same thing at the same
Do you
time.
think I have to live with every day? I'm part of it.
I was slow actually. I didn't. Think
Oh,
of it.
Angela says we need to do it again too. Well, there you go.
Okay, that's
So what
three
are your
people
3
so
wise
far.
words?
My 3 wise words: faith, hope, charity. Beat that one.
Wow.
Okay,
Wait, what
Miss
translation was
America.
that?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Okay.
It works.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure that out.
My 3 wise words are faith, snacks, and tears.
Yeah.
My 3 wise words are actually a full sentence.
That's
That's
cheating.
yeah.
Bacon is good.
Oh, okay. You know that.
I didn't think of anything.
That's more than
I
3 words.
didn't
on it.
think of anything.
That's
Yeah,
5
that's kind of
words.
fun.
Try it again.
No.
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 That's 2.
This is why I'm getting
It's all
things
just
done.
sound stuff.
Okay, it's so hot in here. Wow.
No, it's just you. You're having
You're laughing. You're all
laughing
flat.
Okay,
just somewhere over there.
When's the next meeting?
Oh,
We'll work on
JD says when's the next mini moot?
We'll get back to you on
I
that.
should-
Yeah,
I should
we need to
hear.
work on
Yeah.
that. Sometime after the convention, there's no way we
Yes.
can go.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's coming to the mansion.
Oh, is he? Cool. Fun.
Last
Yes,
video.
you have to stop by our booth.
And mine
And
too.
hers too.
Ink and sheets.
All right.
What's my
3 wise words and then we can leave. If we want to.
Eat chocolate now. I mean, that was really not wise, but
I
eat chocolate now.
I think
Alright.
that works.
Yeah, people will take that.
I mean, like compared to your guys were all like
Profound?
and
No.
profound.
Pulse was like,
Slippery
bacon
words.
is good.
Oh,
That is
I forgot
profound.
about that. Yeah, we're the
Yeah.
food
But
buddies.
these two are hungry, so we better
Eat
go.
bacon chocolate now. So
Yeah. All right.
Chocolate. Thank you for watching us.
Yeah.
It was
Yes,
super
thanks for
fun.
coming.
It's nice that someone showed up
A
and
lot of people showed up.
interacted.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Very cool.
See you guys around.
bye. I figured out how to turn it off now.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.